3, 2, 1. 3 hours, 2 bullets, and 1 statement made in anger shattered my life as I had known it. I hope you get shot in the head and die. Those were the words that kept playing in my mind over and over again. At the age of 12 years old, I found myself standing over my 15-year-old brother. His head was bleeding, and life was leaving his body. And it was all my fault. Just 3 hours after I uttered those words, our reality was before us. I stand here today because I want you to know that there is power in the words that you speak. If I can just awaken one person to the fact that their words are strong, their words hold power, their words make an impact, then I feel that my experience will serve a purpose far greater than my own. I remember it like it was yesterday. My brother, his name was TJ, and I were at home preparing to go to piano lessons at the local YMCA. We had this thing where when we were riding, whoever said, "I got front," was able to ride shotgun in the car. Well, on this particular night, I said, "Got front," but guess who got in the front? He did. And so I was angry. I was so angry at him. And I yelled those words, "I hope you get shot in the head and die." The impact of my words. This is actually the first time I'm ever sharing this story publicly in this way, because I think it's so important for you to know that you have to choose your words wisely. That night, while we were waiting on our mother to pick us up from piano lessons, a fight broke out on the inside of the YMCA. They put the children outside, and a few minutes later, shots rang out. 2 bullets came through the window of the YMCA that night. One hit a wall, the other landed in my brother's head. The chaos that followed was something I'll never forget. It was people screaming. I was crying. I remember the blanket of guilt and regret that fell on me. Regret for the words that I had said that I couldn't even take back, and guilt for the damage that it had caused. As people were screaming and people were running, there was police tape all around. There were sirens from the ambulance. The police lights were flashing. There was yellow police tape wrapped around the building. And there were so many faces coming to see what was happening. Some of those people there that night were there out of genuine concern. But then you had those ones who were just trying to be nosy. But regardless of why they were there, I knew that my words had invited them. The following day, my parents took me to the hospital to see my brother. And I remember rehearsing in my head, what am I going to say to him when I get there? "I'm sorry, TJ. I didn't mean it, TJ. Please forgive me, TJ." I didn't know what to say, but my heart was beating so fast that it literally felt like it was going to burst out of my chest. When I got to the hospital, I don't think it's anything that anyone could have said to prepare me for what I saw next. As I stepped in the doorway of his hospital room, there were monitors, and there were so many tubes and wires all around. There were tubes going through the bandages in his head. There were tubes going down his throat, in his nose. He had IVs in his hand. I mean, they were everywhere. It was so much to take in for a 12-year-old. The minute my foot stepped over the threshold of his room, he started having a seizure. As the doctors rushed in, the nurses pushed us out. You would have thought that night of the shooting, that would have been my awakening, but it wasn't. That moment was. Because in that moment, my voice transformed in my mind to weapons, and my words were the ammunition. Did you know that the average person speaks 6,000 to 7,000 words a day? On the upper side, some speak 16,000. But the average person speaks 6,000 to 7,000 words a day. And in a world where communication is abundant, people tend to toss words around as if they have no impact and they make no difference. Social media has given any and everybody a platform and a microphone, regardless of what they have to say, regardless of who it impacts, regardless of who it hurts. Words are not just a conduit and a carrier of information. I've learned that words are instructions to your future, and they get there before you do. So you must choose your words wisely. My relationship with words did not begin that night of the shooting. They began much sooner, when I was a little girl. You see, when I was young, I talked a lot. I asked a lot of questions, and I spoke my mind, and I didn't care who had anything to say about it. And not much has changed. But my voice was often dismissed. My brother and I went to a school where my mother was a teacher. It was K through 12, and out of the entire K through 12 school, my brother and I were 2 out of 3 African American students. So of course, we stood out. One day, I was in the lunchroom, and these 2 young white boys came up and they sat in front of me at the table. And I remember one of them, my memory is a little blurred, but I will always remember their actions and some of what they said. He picked up my milk carton of chocolate milk, and he poured it all over my tray. And then he made an offensive comparison to me and the color of the milk. Oh, I was in first grade, but I was hot. I was mad. I was furious. He was an upperclassman. But after lunch, when I went to turn my tray in and lay it on the conveyor belt, the lunch lady started reprimanding me. And I tried to explain to her that I didn't do this. Like, let me explain to you what happened. But she didn't want to hear it. She said, shut your mouth, and I'm going to send you to the principal's office. In that moment, it hurt me because I felt like my words didn't matter. Add injury to insult. Every week, this lady would come to my class and pull me out from my classmates and take me to speech therapy lessons. Now, I didn't mind that I was going to speech therapy lessons. I really didn't. My issue was that she would pull me out during recess. And she could have clearly pulled me out during math, science, or something that I didn't care too much about at that time. But I remember she put a label on me, and she said I had a speech impediment. I had a lisp. And I remember when she said that, and I remember hearing that, it was so different for me because what was normal at home was now a problem at school. And so by her saying that to me, once again, it reinforced the fact that something was wrong with my voice and that my words were somehow flawed. From the womb to the tomb, we all have this thing that I like to call the word bank of life. And in this word bank, in my imagination, I feel that we all are born with this set number of words that we're given, and we have no idea how many words we have. At no given time do we know how many words we've used, and we have no idea how many words we have left to speak. So you better choose your words wisely. Words matter. Words are powerful. Words are catalysts to change. Words can be architects to your reality. In this word bank, every word that you say is an investment into your future. What have you said, and how much has it cost you? I want you to think about something. What are the things that someone has said to you that have broke you down? What are those words? Think about it. On the flip side, what has someone said to you that have lifted you up? Think about it. Words can change your life and flip it upside down in an instant, just like what happened to me. You have cancer. I'm sorry. They didn't make it. I love you. Will you marry me? Yes. You have the job. Welcome to the team. You're fired. Get your bags and go. I want a divorce. All of those things can flip your life upside down in a moment. Words hold power. Think about Martin Luther King Jr. Martin Luther King Jr. moved the heart of a nation with the words in his speech, "I have a dream." Another thing, George Floyd, Eric Garner, they broke the heart of a nation when they said, "I can't breathe." Words have power. As children, we have been told that sticks and stones may break your bones, but words will never hurt you. Well, let me tell you, I am here to tell you that is a lie. Just like Maury Povich would say, that is a lie. Because words do hurt, especially when they're coming from those who say they love and they care about you. You see, what I didn't tell you is that my brother survived. And he will always carry the weight of that bullet in his head. And I will always carry the weight of the words that I said to him that night, because I can't take them back and I couldn't reverse it. That was a costly lesson for me, but it taught me so much. I said that if I can use my words to speak death, then I can also use my words to speak life. So here I am speaking life to you all today. Words have power. If I had known how powerful my words were when I said those words to him that night, they never would have left my mouth. But no one told me. No one told me that you can impact someone's life in that way and that it could become our reality. When I was a little girl, if you had told me back then that when I was asking all those questions, that one day somebody would pay me some good money to ask questions all day, I would not have believed it. If you had told that little girl back then that one day she would be standing on stages speaking to hundreds of people, sometimes thousands, that her voice mattered, and that she had a message that people needed to hear, she would have said you were a liar. If someone would have told that little girl that she would go on to be a semifinalist for the Great American Speak Off TV pilot for Grant Cardone and Pete Vargas out of 30,000+ audition signups, she would have said again, you have the wrong person. If you would have told that little girl that one day she would be standing right here, right now, speaking to you all, checking off her bucket list of a TED Talk, I wouldn't have believed that either. I told you that your words have power. You have to speak what you see until you see what you've spoken. If you have a dream, speak it. If you have a desire, speak it. What kind of words have you said to other people? How has that impacted their lives for the good and for the bad? Your words are an investment into your future or the future of someone else. So now that I told you that your future is listening, now that I told you that the world is leaning in to hear what you have to say, my question to you is, what words will you speak? Thank you.